What we want to do is we want to look at the times that we're in. This whole nation was rocked by the assassination of Charlie Kirk. A man that labored for the Father and held up the Father's name wherever he went. We need to understand that this is just the beginning. That those liberals, the people are not just liberals, many of them are actually very demonic. And they war against us. Now, I'm quite sure there's some that are not demonic and have been brainwashed. But I say to you tonight, if you walk in the gospel and if you heed your Father's word, you won't have to worry about being deceived if you will walk in His word and follow His word. Go with me to Hebrews 10:25. We need to understand the value of one another. I look at all my brothers and sisters here tonight, and I know that they are a valuable part of my walk with Almighty Yahweh. That they are an aid and a help to me, a reassurance, encouragement. And when we come together like we are tonight, there is power in the numbers. When we come together as numbers we are here tonight, there is power in that. Hebrews 10:25. Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and as so much the more, as you see the day approaching. We are in a time where the majority of this world totally ignore the Sabbath. The Sabbath is just another day. They are in a world that honors Sunday, the day of the sun deity. We are in a world that pays little attention to the word of Yahweh, and even the ones that gather in the churches today are more caught up in the traditions of the denomination than they are the word of Yahweh. But we need to understand that there is strength in numbers. Not that we do it ourselves. We do not have the power within ourselves to do it. The Father is the one that moves through us. But each and every one of us have been given the Ruach HaKodesh. And when there are more than 4 or 5 or 2 or 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or however how many together, that Ruach HaKodesh is in agreement. And when the Ruach HaKodesh is in agreement, that is a mighty force that's going out. Even though people in Augusta, Kansas are not hearing everything that we're saying tonight, they are still affected by the force that comes out of this congregation. They are still affected by the force that comes out in the agreement that we have with one another. There is power in coming together with the saints. There is power in agreement. If any two agree touching any one thing on earth, it shall be done in heaven. how much more would it be when larger numbers are brought together in agreement? How much more power would that be? The Father is looking for a group that will serve Him, seek to please Him, and do His will in all that they do. Not teaching the doctrines of men or traditions of men, but teaching the Word of Almighty Yahweh. Walking in the Word of Almighty Yahweh. We are a generation that have minimized the importance of the assembly. The generation out there, the natural population, has no excitement about the gathering together. They have no compunction about the gathering together. If it's convenient for them this day, they will come together. If it's not convenient and they have a good excuse, they will miss church. We ought to be excited to come together and be in agreement, because there's something happens in heaven when we come together in agreement. There is something happens in heaven, and we need to know that there is something happens in heaven. Even though we don't physically see it here, there is something that happens in heaven when we come together in agreement, giving honor to Almighty Yahweh and His children. We have power. We need to get off of our sit rights and exert the power that Almighty Yahweh has given us. We are strengthened by the numbers, if for no other reason. The world is in agreement concerning what they wish to accomplish, and it's not, in most cases, the will of Yahweh. Their desires, their importances are much in contrast with Almighty Yahweh. It is just against Him. And we are living in a world that is going further and further and further away. And the things that's been prophesied, you talk about the Bible, people talk about the Bible, believing in the Bible is crazy. You know, how do you know it's true? Well, I'm telling you, that there's been things spoken of thousands of years ago that are coming to pass today. And it's the only book in this whole world that has forecast and foretold all the events without failure that's coming forth today in the world that we're in. You better prepare, because we are coming to the close. The world is in agreement. While the churches are fighting over the denominational doctrines, the world is in agreement. The devil's group is in agreement. They come against you, and they have all kinds of plots, just like this guy came against Charlie Kirk. They have plots and plans. And believe me, I don't believe he was the only one that was involved in this. We need to understand that the world has a plan to destroy the power and the majesty of Almighty Yahweh. Why do you think so many attacks are on Jerusalem today? Why do you think they've been attacked so much? Because if they can pull Jerusalem down, then they can break the word of Yahweh and the promises of Yahweh. They strive to pull that down, because that is a major promise. Almighty Yahweh said it's going to stand. And that's where Yeshua's coming back to. If they can destroy it, then they can create doubt. That's what their goal is. Their goal is to create doubt in your mind. Create doubt that all the Father is going to take care of you, and that the Father is going to deliver you. The Father will deliver you even if it's in death. He will deliver you. It doesn't mean because you're a believer, nobody will ever touch you or hurt you. It's not that way. The thing is that the Father has locked you in, and you are set in His security. And even if they take your physical life, they've not taken your life. Your life is in Him through Yeshua HaMashiach. The world is in agreement, and it's time for the church to come into agreement. The church can't even make up its mind whether they are to keep the laws of Yahweh or not. The majority of the church feels that the laws have been done away with. What a lie. When the churches are teaching a lie, where is the power? When you start looking around wondering where is the power, it's because the churches of Yahweh or supposed Yahweh are teaching lies. They're teaching that the law's been done away with. We can walk any way we want to walk. It's covered. Whatever sins we commit is covered by the blood of Yeshua, and you don't have to do anything. His word says He's faithful to forgive us if we are faithful to confess our sins. The church does not even believe that breaking the law is a sin, though the word says it is. Hebrews 10:14. For by one offering He has perfected forever, now listen closely, those who are being sanctified. What does that word sanctified mean? Sanctified means separated, set apart. Actually, it means being holy. Set apart, separated, holy. That's exactly what it means. He has perfected forever those who He has sanctified. Now, when you come to Yeshua with the idea that you're going to keep on living like you've been living, doing the things that you want to do rather than doing the things that the Word says do, you're not sanctified. And you haven't put on Yeshua. There are so many people today that are being brought to a position where they acknowledge that Yeshua is the Son of Yahweh, and they're baptized and set on their way. They're good. Their sins are covered. So let's do a bunch of them, get a bunch of them covered. No, that's not the way it is. So we need to understand that He has perfected forever those who He sanctified, those who are separated, those who walk in His way, those who will not treat sin frivolously. We need to understand Yeshua gave us the ability to have His mind and to be unified. If everyone in here has the mind of Yeshua, then there would never be a split in churches. If everybody had the mind of Yeshua, there would never be a church split. How many times do you hear of churches splitting, dividing, going on their own way, everybody going their separate way? It's because of the fact that they're living according to their flesh and not according to the Ruach HaKodesh. The Father is not double-minded. The Father is one mind. If we are walking and putting on the mind of Yeshua, then we should be in unity together. We should be in agreement in what we are going to accomplish and what our goals are. That does not mean that we're going to agree on everything that we read out of the Word of Yahweh. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying that we are going to be in agreement in what we want to accomplish, what our goals are, what our priorities are, what is the priority of our life. That's what it's got to be. We are instructed to take on the mind of Yeshua and to be unified. We're instructed to take on his mind. If we take on his mind, then we would all be of one mind, one accord. If each one of us would take on the mind of Yeshua and the agreement, if we all in agreement, can you imagine the power that would come out of this place? The power that would be brought forth. If we would focus on power and coming into agreement, if we would focus on the Word and coming into agreement rather than trying to find things to divide, the power that would come forth, the power that would come out of us. The church would no longer be weak and misplaced on its importances. We have a situation in today's generation where churches sometimes seem more focused on the commercial side than the spiritual side. More focused on whether the ministry is going to pay for itself than whether it's going to bring people into the kingdom. We need to focus on the Word and to be in agreement, to unify, not to hunt things to be different or to divide, but to be in unity. If each one of us would take on the power, the church would no longer be weak and no longer have the misplaced importances. They would have their head on straight. They would have their eyes set on the goal that's set before them, and they would not take it off. Christians have become too focused on the Christian belief systems and what it means, and they're constantly figuring out ways of what this means and that means, and knowing what we need to do, people, is to get focused on walking with Yeshua, walking with him in his way, doing what he has for us to do. In the past time, the believers gave Yah's truth top credence. Now, not all of them, but some of them, most of them. The early church was totally committed. I mean, what other person on this earth that has had thousands of people die before they would deny him? No other person on this earth has had thousands go to their grave knowing that their life was wrapped up in Yeshua HaMashiach. And I believe Charlie Kirk believes that. I believe he was comfortable in that. He wanted to happen to him what happened to him, but I believe he was comfortable in his relationship with the Father and where he was going. We need to understand it's time for believers to submit to Yah's true gospel. Quit getting caught up in all these church doctrines and denominational doctrines and go to the truth of Yah's gospel. Hebrews 7, verse 25. Therefore, he is also able to save to the uttermost those who come to Almighty Yahweh through him, since he always lives to make intercession for them. people's got the concept that Yeshua is just sitting up there and resting and you're not doing nothing. No, he's interceding for us day and night. He is interceding for you, for me, for each one of us day and night. And he has the ability. He has the ability to save us to the utmost. Not just to save us from hell, but save us from ourselves. He has the ability to save us from ourselves. That's who we need to be saved from. If we're saved from ourselves, we got it made. But as long as self is in control, we're in contrary with Yeshua. But he has the ability to save us to the uttermost, right down to our toes, from our hands to our toes. Where we walk is going to be right. What we put our hands to is going to be right. It is real easy to become distracted in our minds by the things of this world. There's distractions all around you. There's distractions everywhere. And it's a lot easier to be distracted than it is to stay focused. But we must, in this day and this time that we're in, we must stay focused on the word of Yahweh, on the walk with Yahweh, our relationship with him. We have to be focused on our relationship with him. I mean, I think almost anybody that is married will tell you that relationships have their complications sometimes. They just do. But because we treasure that relationship, we work out those complications and work through them. Because Yeshua loves us, he works through the complications. If we will just submit to him, he will save us to the uttermost, from the heart, from the head to the toe. He will save us. He will save us. But it's in obedience to the word. Yeshua is making intercession for us day and night, each and every one of us. Romans 8:27. Now he who searches the heart knows what the mind of the Spirit is, because he makes intercession for the saints according to the will of Yahweh. We can make intercession for one another by the Ruach HaKodesh. We can make intercession in agreement with the Father by the Ruach HaKodesh, by letting the Ruach HaKodesh guide us, direct us, correct us, and speak through us. Ephesians 4:23 through 24. And be renewed in the Ruach of your mind, and that you put on the new man, which was created according to Yahweh in true righteousness and kadoshness. Woo! Boy, was that a mouthful. That's being renewed, created according to Yahweh, to the true righteousness and kadoshness. Not the righteousness that's brought forth by the church denominations today, but the true righteousness. What is the true righteousness? It is the Torah. The Torah told you what the true righteousness is, and that we and none of us have lived according to the Torah close enough to make it on our own. We needed the blood of Yeshua HaMashiach to cleanse us. We needed a Savior. And Almighty Yahweh loved us enough to give us a Savior, to give us redemption, to bring us to a place to where we could get past the flesh and walk after the Ruach HaKodesh. We have to have the mind of the Ruach HaKodesh if we are to intercede. In true righteousness and kadoshness, we need the mind to be filled with the truth. When we go to intercede for someone, we can't go spouting off a whole bunch of things that just comes out of the air. We got to intercede according to the Word and according to the Ruach HaKodesh. We have to intercede according to the mind of the Father. This verse is talking about the true righteousness, adorning the true righteousness of Almighty Yahweh. And Yeshua gave us the demonstration of that. When he walked this earth, that's the reason the Word tells us we should walk even as he walked, because he walked in the righteousness of Almighty Yahweh. And he had the ability to intercede for us while he was here on this earth. This verse is talking about true righteousness, adorning the ways of Almighty Yahweh and adorning the Word of Yahweh, putting on Yeshua, walking in Yeshua. He is our friend. He is our friend. Thank you. When you come to Yeshua, you become a new man in truth, walking in truth. Immersion is not just an ordinance of the church, a washing away of sin. Immersion is symbolically burying the old man and coming up, resurrection, a new man. Now, how many people understand that when they come out of the water, they are obligated to become a new man? They have covenanted with Almighty Yahweh to become a new man. They have put off the old man. The old man is dead and put off, and they have put on the new man, Yeshua HaMashiach, and they have agreed to walk even as he walked. They have agreed to walk according to the word of Almighty Yahweh. Too many times today, when people are baptized or when they come in, they do not understand what they've done. They do not understand that they made an agreement with the Father to walk according to his word and to walk as Yeshua walked. It needs to be brought forth. It is actually a commitment to put off the old man and a promise to Almighty Yahweh to submit and become a new creature, a new creation. Hebrews 10:12 through 13. But the man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins, forever sat down at the right hand of Yahweh, from that time waiting till his enemies are made his footstool. There's a movie called Windwalker, which is wrapped up in witchcraft. But Windwalker talked about the people that walked in the wind. It was Indian culture. But we are word walkers. We are word walkers. And there's no witchcraft in that. That's nothing but Almighty Yahweh and Yeshua HaMashiach. We are word walkers. Yeshua is not just sitting and waiting. He is ever interceding for us and pulling us up. Yeshua made it possible for us to receive the Ruach HaKodesh. Therefore, we are able to receive the instruction from Yahweh because he confers with us through the Ruach HaKodesh. He relates to us through the Ruach HaKodesh. And not only do we have been given the ability to hear the Father by the Ruach HaKodesh, but we have been empowered by the Ruach HaKodesh. That's not some little something. That's a powerful thing of Almighty Yahweh. That's His Ruach. That's His breath in us that's given us strength. Hebrews 10:15 through 16. But the Ruach HaKodesh also witnesses to us. For after He had said before, this is the covenant that I will make with them. After those days, says Almighty Yahweh, I will put my laws into their hearts, and in their minds I will write them. We have to have an understanding that the law has not been done away with just because Yeshua resurrected. It was not done away with. Matter of fact, he said He's written it on our hearts and our minds. We need to know. We need to know that the Torah has not been done away with, but that is the way we are to walk. If we walk in the Ruach HaKodesh, we've been given power over all the enemy. And that's where our power comes from, is being in unity with the Ruach HaKodesh and not at odds with it. We can't just go any way we want to go and live our life the way we want to live it in the flesh and be powerful, be victorious. We have to submit ourselves to Almighty Yahweh, walk in His way. That's what we agreed to. When we were baptized and resurrected, that's what we agreed to, that we was going to walk even as Yeshua walked. But the Ruach HaKodesh also witnesses for after He had said before, this is the covenant that I will make with him. It's a covenant, our covenant today, that He has made with us. After those days, says Almighty Yahweh, I will write my laws into their hearts, and in their minds will I write them. By the mercies of Almighty Yahweh, through the Ruach HaKodesh, He has wrote His commandments on our hearts. Yahweh promised He would put the laws in our hearts, and Ruach in us. We need to know that those promises are for us today. They are for us today. But Yahweh went on further. He said He would write them on our minds, that our minds would be focused on the Word of Yahweh. If you are submitted to Yahweh, your mind is going to be focused on the Word of Yahweh. You are going to walk the Word of Yahweh. You are going to do the Word of Yahweh. That is going to be the factor of your life that's going to control your walk, your life, your health, your being. But Yahweh went further and said He would write them on our minds. He would put them in our minds, that they would be in our minds. Our thoughts would be on Him continually. Our thoughts would be on His Word continually. Are we walking in His Word? Or are we transgressing? Would this be a transgression if I did this? Matthew 7:7 through 8. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be open to you. There is a process to gain understanding and learning the Word. You got to give. You got to give. You got to submit. You got to ask. You got to knock. You got to look for it. And it has to be important and a priority to you. You must ask, and you will find. You must knock on the door. Who is the door? Yeshua. Knock on that door, and the door is open, and your way into Almighty Yahweh to get revelation and understanding and the Ruach HaKodesh to guide and direct you. When you come to Yeshua, you have knocked on the door, and the door has been opened when you take him on and put him on. When you put Yeshua on, you have walked through the door. And when you walk through the door, you have all the blessings of Almighty Yahweh poured out upon you. People, it is precious. It is precious, and we should strive to be in a place to receive everything that Almighty Yahweh has for us. Everything. For we are living in a violent, evil world. And it's going to get more violent, and it's going to get more evil. The righteous are going to become more righteous, and the wicked are going to become more wicked. Matthew 7, 8 through 10. Or 8 through 9, I'm sorry. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be opened. Is no ifs there. Or what man is there among you who, if his son asks for bread, would give him a stone? He said, if you knock, it's going to be open. If you go to that door wanting to get in, it's going to be opened. And when it's opened, you will put on the things of Almighty Yahweh. If you want the good things of Yahweh, he says, which one of you would, when your child asks for a fish, would you give him a stone? The Father is not a prankster. He gives legitimate knowledge and gifts. Matthew 7, 10 through 11. If he asks for a fish, will you give him a serpent? If you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask him, who go to him, who look for it, who seek it, knowing that he's got it and that he has their life in his hands. Matthew 7:12. Therefore, whatever you want to do to you, men to do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophets. You to treat men the way you want to be treated. These laws are so easy to follow, and how you relate to mankind. It is how you relate to Yahweh through Yeshua, how you relate to mankind. Yah so loved the world, not the sinful ways, but his creation. So loved the world that he made a way for them to come to him and to be saved from their evil, wicked ways. We have a great test set before us. It's coming. It's coming more and more and more. All over the world it's coming. And the things that have been prophesied that were going to come against us, we see them taking place today. And we see all the nations. Now, the United Nations wants to give a nation or recognize the Palestinians and cause them to be a government now. You know, and that's what you see. You see the United Nations coming against Israel. That's all the nations surrounding it. Prophecy? Yes. All nations coming against it. United Nations is coming against Israel now. We see that prophecy coming to pass. And we are living in the last days. We need to know that we are living in the last days. And we do not have the ability or the time to prepare. We need to get ready right now. Right now. Not put it off till tomorrow. Right now. We need to determine tonight that we are going to walk according to the Word, according to the commands of Almighty Yahweh. We are going to be in unity with Him, agreement with Him, walking with Him. There's no other way, people. You have, if you are going to be delivered, you're going to have to walk with Him. And you can't walk with Him if you won't keep the Torah. Because Yeshua is not going to sin with you. If you're going to sin, you've left Him behind.